Episode 8 of the Babes Talking Business podcast. We are so excited to have you guys here today because we have the beautiful boho chic / modern gal woo-woo boss babe Kimberley Wenya on the line. Can you tell that we love her? You might know Kimberley from the Kimberley Wenya podcast, which actually just topped the charts this week in the top 20 for the business category on the iTunes app. So congrats, Kim. That is amazing. You may also know her from her super cute blog and Instagram where she helps girls manifest the abundant reality that they know they deserve. Or you might know her from her coaching program, the Manifestation Collective, a 6-week program that helps women quantum shift into the woman they desire to become. Kimberley is a spiritual mindset and manifestation coach who focuses on bridging the gap between the woo-woo and the modern millennial girl, creating a brand that is all about modern girl spirituality. Over the last 6 months, Kimberley has built her brand and business all while studying osteopathy full-time at university, and she's successfully launched group coaching programs. She's delivered incredible ebooks, and she's coaching women one-on-one ranging from their early 20s all the way up to their 40s. And this is insane because this girl is 23 years old. She's from Melbourne, Australia, and she is just kicking massive goals. We know for a fact that you are going to fall in love with her just like we have. So grab yourself a notepad and a pen because she gives some golden nuggets in this one and it is a goodie. If you're loving our podcast, guys, we would love for you to rate us, give us some love, drop us some feedback. We want to know if this is helping you with your business startups. We want to know if you want to hear of anything else. What else are you challenged with? What do you want us to share with you? Don't forget that every week we do a shout out a week on the Instagram of our favorite reviews. So when you do leave us some feedback, don't forget to leave your Instagram handle or your website so that you can go into the running for the shout out of the week. Don't forget, guys, you can also follow us on Instagram by heading over to @BabesTalkingBusiness. You can check us out on the website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com. And this podcast is a vlogcast, meaning that you can watch each and every single episode by heading over to our YouTube channel. Links for all of these are below in the podcast notes, as well as Kimberley's handles. We hope you love this episode just as much as we do. Enjoy.
We got there in the end.
Hello, Kimberley. Oh my God, we're so excited to have you on the podcast. Thank you for jumping on.
Thank you so much, girls, for having me. It's so exciting to be. Did I just crack you girls up?
Yeah. We would love to have you introduce yourself and tell all the listeners about you and who you are and what you do for your business. And let's just go from there. Let's make this thing flow.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. So basically my name is Kimberley and I am a spiritual mindset and manifestation coach. So that's a lot to take in, but basically it's all about teaching girls how to really create their lives the way that they want it and not just like rolling out of bed and expecting life to just happen to them. And it's a taking control of things and really, becoming that version of yourself that you see yourself already in the future. So that is pretty much everything that I do. Abundance to me doesn't just mean money. It means everything, like relationships and health. And it's a 360 point of view, not just the 180. So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, me in a nutshell. Yeah.
I love it. The thing I really loved about you when I came across you online was just your energy and your vibe. Like, you're so positive and you have so much value on your platforms, like your Instagram. You've obviously got your podcast. You've got your Habits for Wellness ebook, which I'm currently doing, by the way. It's really good. I'm really loving it. And yeah, you just give so much value and you're so knowledgeable. But what I loved about you was you also are studying osteopathy on the side of this incredible business that you've built. So
yes.
How long do you have? I remember we were chatting recently. You have a year or so left.
So it's like a bachelor and then a master's. Like, it sounds so boring, but basically in a nutshell, I would have 2.5 years to go. So including this year. So once I finish this year, then it'll be like another 1.5 years. But yeah. I'm actually taking a year off next year. So that's also exciting.
That's really cool.
But it is a challenge.
Yeah. So how do you balance that? You know, like Loz and I have so many women that we mentor in business, and they are studying, or they're just creating a little side hustle to help with bills or whatever it might be. And some of them really struggle with this. Like, you know, they're like, how do I do my time like effectively? How do I like do my calendar? And it's like, okay, we need someone who's doing this really well to tell us.
Totally. And so there are so many versions to deal with this, but one way that I really do love is scheduling. And like, this is so basic, but literally when people say they don't have time, it's just that you're not making time, because no one has time for anything. Like, if you think about it, you're just sitting there watching Netflix, but that's time taking up, and it's like you can use that so much better. Like, literally, let me just be real with you girls. By the way, I just checked the time. It's 1:11. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
I was like, I kind of because I wasn't sure. We can swear here.
We can swear. Everyone always asks that.
Everyone always drops a little bomb in there somewhere, but I think it's because you get so passionate. It just adds some flavour.
Yeah, it just like comes out of you. I can't stop it. But basically, before I hopped on with you girls, I was like trying to like finish up some little things for my Instagram, like just posts and stuff. And I was like, there was 10 minutes left, and I was like, I can do it. So like literally, like I just created like a story just like in that time, and like every single moment you can be doing something getting you closer to your goals. You just need to like make it happen, like stop wasting time. And that's a little bit Gary Vee, but it's the truth. Like, schedule like from 7 a.m. if you wake up then, or 5 a.m. until like 10 p.m. and just like make yourself do it. It's like, listen to, what is it, Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, and it helps so much. Like, I'm sure you girls love that book, but yeah. And the thing is, like, people just you just need to become more efficient, and it's not like a thing that you are born with. You have to teach yourself to do it. You have to train yourself like a dog. That sounds terrible. Let's not talk about that. But like, it's all about just becoming really efficient with your time and like just discipline. And I think that's something that I've learned from studying like 3 years before this, and even like this being my second year, my next degree, is discipline, and really, you know, telling yourself that if you want to make it happen, you have to do it. Like, step into that version of you who's already got that. And that's something I always talk about. So I'm sure you guys have heard me say that a lot.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm curious though, how did you go from studying osteo to then being a spiritual mindset coach on the side? Like, how does that kind of go? Me personally, when I found that out, I was like, I love you. Not only are you like really woo-woo and you're all into your spiritual health, but you're also massive in science. And I think that's so refreshing, because so many people out there who maybe haven't delved into personal development, they put that in like the hippie basket. Like, oh, that's not real. That's not how it works.
Oh, yeah.
But when you see the girls who are actually out there using it, it's quantum physics. There's actually a lot of science behind it.
Literally, yes. And that's what I love about it. Like, I love how you were like, it's kind of like left field, like kind of woo-woo, like hippie, but that's the whole thing with my brand, like making it come back down to earth, bridging it between like modern girl spirituality and like making it okay. Because like when you first get into it, you're like, what the hell, this is so hippie, blah blah blah. But the other thing is that I went into science because my whole life I was just so into science, and I kind of think of it as like my dad is an engineer, my mum's an interior designer, and I'm like the baby of like science and art. So I kind of like stick my heads in both buckets. Yeah. But
I love that.
It's interesting in that way that I never really saw and I've always been spiritual. Like when I was a kid, I went to church with mum and stuff like that. So it's always been like I've had that side with me. Mm-hmm. But I think that you're right. It's like the other thing with osteopathy, it's not like GPs, doctors, nurses, which are like very, very like there's adoption, like, you know, it's very like orthodox, whereas osteo actually is seen as kind of being kind of like a little woo-woo. Like when I actually manifested getting hired as an admin for an osteo job, the one that I actually got hired for, and I really think this is because of law of attraction and the universe and divine intervention, but basically what happened was the people in there know law of attraction, and they like talk about spiritual stuff, and I was like, this is no coincidence. So I think, I've gone on a whole tangent there, I'm so sorry. But that is, I just found it curious, and I think that it's so important that us modern millennial girls don't just close ourselves off to this, because it's so powerful.
Yeah. So you were studying, so give us a little bit of a background of like how this came to fruition, like the Kimberley Wenya brand. So you were studying osteo, and why did you start a business? Like, what came to your mind? Like, you were already doing something in the professional field. What made you want to do something completely different on the side? Did you envision it to be like what it is today, or was it just for fun? Like, talk us through that.
Totally. So this all starts like ages ago, actually. I'm just going to briefly mention this, but when I was in my second year of my other degree, I started this fitness account, and I was doing like the Kayla Itzina's beach bodyguard, bikini bodyguard, and I got like to 16,000 followers because she shouted me out and just went all rah, rah, rah. But then I just realized that none of these girls really cared about me. It was more that just the fact that I was doing the guide. And I just kind of left that, and I just like kind of left it because it was just like, no, it's not me anymore. And I decided to start from the ground up and create Kimberley Wenya. And the reason why I started to think about it was because I knew that studying osteopathy, I wouldn't just get a patient base out of nowhere. It wasn't like people were going to be like, oh, I'm going to come and see you and get treated by you. I would have to build my own kind of following to be able to attract people to come to me. And so many people graduate from jobs, whether it's like business or anything, without a social media following, where that is like where everything is happening. And I just knew, like, after reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book is so important. It's like everything to build your business now. So I had that in mind, and I was like, I got to start something, just anything, start anywhere. And so I started again in wellness because I was like, I'll just start in wellness. I like it. And then I got into personal development, and then this vortex opened, and I was just like, holy shit. I was just like, I just got sucked in. And that is why I'm now like into manifestation, law of attraction.
I freaking love that. That's totally what it's like. It's
Yeah.
like a vortex, like a black hole you're never getting out of.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so how has it kind of evolved? Because I know obviously what we love about Babes Talking Business is most businesses and people we talk to, they do have businesses online. So obviously it's a lot of Instagram, it's a lot of all these pretty posts. But I'd love to know what actually goes on behind the scenes, because you and your brand, you've actually got your hands on a lot of different pies. You've got like your coaching, and you've got like an ebook, and then you've got your podcast. I'd love to know, what does like the business side of your life look like? What are you doing? What are you working on? How does it all fit together?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess if it was like how a day looks or how a week looks, I'm like someone who kind of likes, what was that? I like to go with the flow, but have structure also. So you know how I said scheduling is really good. It doesn't mean that I follow it like exactly. I will move things and drag and drop when it like doesn't align with me. So I will like, I guess, because my podcast is very real time, kind of like updating on my life and synchronicities when I'm manifesting. So I always have to record them like twice a week. So I'll record definitely twice a week, and they take you maybe like 2 to 3 hours just in total, probably more actually with editing if I do edit, but a lot of it is just like me rambling. So I will make sure that, but it's very cathartic, so I don't feel like it's like, ooh, like really hard to do. So I'll put aside time maybe after like studying or after uni where I just need to unwind, and a lot of the time it's like 8 p.m., 10 p.m. when I'm recording, and it's late, but it's when I've got the time to do it, and so I'll just do it. And then in terms of blogging, I work really well under pressure. It's just really, really terrible. Like if there were social media managers, they'd be like, cutthroat right now, is that the word? But they'd be like, oh my God, no way. But I literally write my blogs like half an hour before I release them, which is like very, very like risky in terms of having like a content bank, and it's something I definitely need to work on, especially I think in the future. But I kind of like how it's just so real time, real raw, and like there may be grammatical errors, but whatever. It's like it's better to put something out there than be like it has to be perfect, which is another thing that if you're starting a business, you will never have anything come out that's perfect. Like just need to say that, like you girls would definitely know. I heard this really good quote which was like, put stuff out 70%, you will fail if you put something out 100%, because it will either never happen or you spent too much time that it just like it's not worth that time. not sure who said that, but in terms of like in a week, that's, I guess, then I've got uni, which is a non-negotiable. I have to be there, and I'm up, like I'm probably a night owl. So sometimes I'll go to bed, like it's so bad, like 1 o'clock, and then wake up next day and then go to uni. So it's, that's, I guess, how it all balances out. But with the group coaching, I did my last round, and a lot of it was, getting content each week. And I didn't plan it before I launched it. That's the other thing. People feel like they have to like create something before they're like, buy my stuff. Well, you don't actually. Once you sell it, like then start making it. And it's also then you get more inspired, and you kind of feed off like, man, there's people who are going to like know this stuff now. It's not like, oh my gosh, who's going to buy this? So it's a totally different energy when you're creating content from that space. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry, I just like go all over the place.
No, totally.
I love that.
And from a business perspective then, obviously it was a strategic move. You're really trying to build your following. So when you do graduate with your osteo, you've got people who already know you, you've got people who love you, you've got people who want more of you. So in the meantime, while you are building up your content, where's your money coming from? So are you working on other stuff, or is the money coming from the coaching? Like with a business cap on, how do you keep your business afloat?
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. And I work at my admin job, so that's like kind of like the constant. It's always there. There's like it's not a money maker, It's just like it
pays the bills.
That kind of thing. But in terms of business and that, with my ebook Habits to Wellness is there, and like people will randomly find it and they'll invest in it, which is really great. And apart from that, I do like one-on-one coaching, and I haven't actually opened it up again, but I still have clients from the past who will be like, could I just have another session with you? So that's like a random kind of burst of income. And then the Manifestation Collective, my last round, I just got like a big kind of income from there, because it's one of my higher ticketing kind of coaching packages. And I guess this time it's like even more successful, because I've like started to actually have it like create a brand, and it's like not just having 100 followers. So now it's really picking up momentum, and that's like something more of attraction-y. But because of this, I'm just like trying to keep riding this wave and keep increasing my income gradually. And it doesn't, like, I'm not going to say it's going to happen gradually, or like that. It's an entrepreneurship. Like, the fact is that it goes up and down. But I think, something that I just recently celebrated, I guess, was having my first 4.5K day, which was like my mind just blew. And as a student, that is fucking like, oh my God, I'm a millionaire.
Even not even as a student, like as a normal person working, what was it, a $4,500 day? Like,
literally.
That's amazing.
Shit balls, dude. Like, that is friggin' unbelievable. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks, girls. And like, lots of people are scared to say stuff like that, but I mean, that's something I work on with girls, like money mindset. And you girls know this. It's like all about just, getting rid of the taboo. Like, money is money. It's like a pen. It's the same thing. There's just so much fear around it. And it's something that we all like, once you fix that story, we fix our lives.
Yeah.
It's all good. So
I love that. And because especially this is a business podcast, and with business, there's money. Otherwise, you're running a charity. So, and people, like you said, it's like people have they have a money story. And I know you've done some really cool episodes on your podcast talking about money stories as well, one with Shan, so you can go check that out.
Yes.
But in saying that, like, what advice would you give to people maybe in business who do have their own money stories? And it's, because I know it's an exchange of energy, but people who kind of have that money story, they're kind of turning work off, like they're turning work away, and they're not accepting work on because of the energy.
Okay, I love this question because it's so good. And I don't know whether you girls have read Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. Have you read it?
So we to add that one.
Okay, this is good. Well, you can add it in the show notes. But basically in it, she says there was this carpenter that came up to her, and he was like, I'm so poor, like I have no money. And he was like, just like real struggling. And she was like, well, what are you doing for work? And he's like, I'm a carpenter, but I don't want to do that anymore, because I want to pursue guitar and I want to do music and stuff like that. And she was like, well, why are you turning away all these jobs? Like, the universe is giving you these jobs to be able to fuel yourself to pursue that guitar dream. And so what I firmly believe is, like, if you are struggling, then don't turn away things because you want to pursue something else. Like, just keep saying yes to it. It doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck there forever. In fact, what it means is you're being grateful for those opportunities, and you're going to attract more grateful opportunities towards you, which is going to take you out of that job because it's not your favorite thing. So that's what I really strongly believe. It's like, don't turn those away. Like, I still work for my osteo job, even though it's only, like $25 an hour compared to like coaching. It's totally different. But it's just, that's how I see it. And I think that's how a lot of us should see it, rather than being like, oh, but I'm not taking the leap. Like, it's up to you. And like, listen to your gut. Everything, we know everything. It's just really tuning in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that.
I think too in business, because I'm hoping you can relate, but I think a lot of people that I speak to in business, there's parts of the business that they love, and there's other parts that they don't love, right? And so then they have this hang up that they're like, oh, I'm not doing what I love, or I should be doing something that fully lights me up. And I always try to explain to people, I honestly think passions come in two categories. You can pursue a passion and it generates an income for you, or you generate an income so you can pursue a passion. And sometimes they don't marry up. Sometimes you might do something that pays your bills, but it's giving you the freedom so you can go surf all weekend, or maybe you can go and paint 4 or 5 hours a day. So understanding that money doesn't always have to mean that you're doing something that you love. It could be something that allows you to pursue something that you love as well.
So
definitely, because one thing I didn't mention was the transition between like studying. Also, like, just lately, I've only moved out a couple months ago, but I was at home and I was tutoring my ass off, like tutoring maths, tutoring violin, like all of these skills that I grew up as a little Asian kid. I just used all of them, and I just like tutored the crap out of every weekend, and I worked so hard. And now it's just like, it just feels so much better. I have such gratitude for what I can do now, and that I don't have to tutor anymore. So yeah, it's definitely like seeing the difference, but knowing that like by doing this, you can move on to like be so passionate about what you want to build anyway. So yeah.
I love that. That makes me think about a question that I want to ask you about your business. So a lot of our listeners, they're in all different types of businesses, whether it's startups or franchises or multi-level marketing or whatever it might be. And like you just said before, how you were sort of like trading time for money. You were tutoring, say, like for an hour, and in return you'd get X amount of dollars. And I guess that's the same with like admin jobs or whatever. But now, aside to that, like, you've created an income stream where you've got group coaching, and you've systemized it. I'm assuming like it's because I did your 7-day manifestation challenge, and I loved it because it was like you for 7 days on a recording, and you had a little workbook, and I was like, how smart is this? Like, she's actually not physically sitting in front of me, but I'm getting the value that she's giving me, and that just goes on rotation. So I'm assuming that your coaching is the same.
Yeah, that's my intention. So in terms of like business models, that abundance manifestation challenge is totally free. And the reason why I do that is because it just gives people a taste of what you can do, like at least like a tenth of what you can do. And it's the thing is, like, some people will be like, oh my gosh, can you help me with this, and blah, 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 blah. And they might say that they don't have the money to invest, and that's totally on them. Like, that's totally fine. But instead of feeling bad and being like, I can't help you because it has to cost this much to work with me, you can say, but I have this free thing, and you can work with that. And it's so much better, because also that was when like audio was becoming really, really popular. So I was like, I'm just going to do daily audio recordings so that people can listen to it on the train. And that's what girls do when they do it. They're like, on the train, they just listen to it, and then they do their little workbook at home at night. But I think, in terms of the business model, again, I'm getting distracted. With the Manifestation Collective, that is something that I do rounds with, and this is only just the second round, and I intend to like keep tweaking it. And the thing is, like, girls who join it get access to the future round. So any improvements, it's like an incentive, like, to join now, like make the changes now and get the even better ones in the future.
Yeah,
that's so cool. I think that's so smart. And I think people who want to create e-courses or things like that, like, think about that rather than making the course something that you have to put your 100% into every single time. Like, just build on your content, keep adding value to it. So good. I love it.
I think too, a lot of girls that are tuning in, and I know I was there personally 2 years ago, when you're a coach or you're trying to build up a brand or a following on social media, and you get deflated or you get discouraged when you feel like you're spending a lot of time creating content and you're not actually getting anywhere. But it's not till you realize, I guess I can reflect now 2 years down the track, is building your content is actually helping people get to know you. And as much as you might not be getting an exchange of money at that time, it's how people get to know what you're about and your personality, and they learn to trust you. So when the day comes when you do go to build something, they already kind of know what you're about. Hey.
Yeah, totally. And this is where I want to talk about podcasts, and like, because obviously we're on one, so people are like listening to this. But I have girls now who they've either found it on the charts, and they're like come in, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I love it, and they're like binge on it, and they're like, I totally know everything about you now, and I'm like, whoa, like I'm so, because it's so new, it's like a new paradigm. You're like, this is not like in the caveman days, that would not have happened. It's like you got to talk to them for like a couple of hours, because there's literally like a couple hundred hours probably on there. So it's like, it's so powerful, because then I've had girls being like, because you know how you, as coaches, people hold discovery calls, and it's like you have the sale at the end. It's like you got this to say, and then you're like, boom, will you coach with me? Well, now girls are just like, I'm all in, and like they don't even talk to me because they just know what I am like. Yeah. So it's so powerful in that way. So it really just pays off, because it just builds, and you might not think that an hour or 15 minutes of recording a podcast makes a difference, but it totally does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think because a lot of girls that we mentor in business, I try to explain that to them, because they get disheartened like when they're building their social media brand or they're posting every day, and they're like, but nobody's engaging and no one's interacting. And I'm like, but you don't know how many people are actually watching. Like, there's so many people that I don't even know about that randomly come across on the weekend, like, oh, I'm loving your podcast. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you're listening to it. So it's like these, and I guess this is a business podcast. If you're out there trying to build a business, like, these are other streams or other ways of getting people to know you and getting them to understand your brand and what you're about, without hopefully one day leading into another business stream, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Let's talk about, actually, because you mentioned before how like you had an Instagram with 16,000 followers on it, and you were like, you know what, this is shit. Like, I'm just going to start from scratch. And then you went and built your new Instagram, which is Kimberley Wenya. So you started with 0. So tell us, like, what do you do to build your Instagram? I know that we've got a lot of listeners who are like, I just want to build my Instagram, or we mentor a lot of women who are like, I just want to build my Instagram for my business, but what do I do? How do you walk us through like what you do on a daily basis? Because I freaking love your branding. I love everything you do. So let's just get you talking about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In terms of Instagram, it's my favorite. It's like my favorite out of all social medias. And so I've got like, okay, I'm going to just say what I do. So basically I know that every day I'm on my story, and I do like a daily manifestation tip. So people know that there's something fresh every single day. It's not like I'm just posting photos of my acai bowls. Like, that is so 2014. So basically I am always showing my face on there every single day, whether it's like even like there's been times where it's been like 11:50 and I'm like, shit, I didn't do one, and I'll just like grab my journal and I'll just be like, snap, and I'll be like, yeah, do this, and but it's like without fail I always want to get there on there every day and provide value. And instead of just talking about yourself, give value, like give a tip or something. If you're like a health coach or something, do like a health tip every single day. And it's not hard. Like, you just think about what you do, and you just, because people don't know like every single thing you do. Like, we underrate like how interesting our lives are because we see it every day, but they don't. And so that's what I will do, like every single day. Also, document, don't create. That is something like a Gary Vee thing. But instead of like thinking like, oh, I need to create like a flat layer or something, like document what you're already doing. So sometimes I'll do like a card pull every morning, and I'm like, oh, I might as well take a photo, and it saves you time. Like, that's how you like just do stuff every single day. And then I do like one post every day. Sometimes it'll be like every 2 days if I'm like really, really packed in my schedule. But I like alternate between, you know, quotes and then like a photo. It just makes the feed looks nice and cohesive. And I keep the branding. You want to like, this is so just like, everyone knows this, but you kind of want it all cohesive. So that's another thing. And then in terms of, engagement is really important, of course. Like, if you're not getting comments on your photos and your feed, it's like think about it. Are you commenting on other people's? Like it's also law of attraction, but it's also like to do with the algorithm.
Yeah.
So like if you aren't commenting if you're not commenting on other people's, why do you expect people to comment on your stuff? So engage with other people, and then if you actually put the intention out that you're doing this to build a relationship, not just like come find those, oh my god, those bots, they're like, come check out my page and like pineapple or something random. Like, oh my god, like I can't even deal with those. Instead of doing something like that, like say something really authentic, because it matters. Reply to every single comment. I see bloggers out there who are like, people are like, what sweater is that? Or like, where'd you get your cards from? Like, I get that question all the time. And so I link it in my bio because I get it so often. And tell them, why are you afraid of telling them where you got your bracelet? Like, they're going to wear it differently. Like, stop beating up yourself. Like, just don't put yourself on a pedestal. And like, this is so important. The other thing is DMs are really... that's good for the algorithm as well, like if people are messaging you, so if that's also really good. Another thing is stories. The more you refresh it, like the more people watching, the more polls you have, also the more people vote, it's really good for engagement, and you're going to show up more and more in other people's feeds and stuff, and that's how people will find you. So yeah, that's like pretty much like all my tips and stuff for Instagram.
I love it. We get asked nearly every day without a doubt, tell us about the algorithm. I'm like, man, jump on YouTube, be innovative, like teach yourself this shit, because there's freaking 100 blogs out there that tell you about the algorithm and how it updates every freaking day.
I'm like the worst for it. Shani is like the little social media guru, and I'm just like, hey, Shan, how do this? And she just goes, YouTube.
No, I tell you, you're my favorite. So I'm just like,
I'm seriously technology illiterate. Like something will happen, like even Google Drive. I'm like, Google Drive does not like me, and so Shani sat down in the week like, nah, we're getting this shit under control. And she couldn't work it out though.
No, something like your computer just doesn't like Google Drive. Anyway, we're getting distracted. But like, funny. I love that you just mentioned that, Kim, because the algorithm is constantly changing, like the rules around it, and people are always like, but how do you know all this stuff? Like, how do you know all this stuff? Do you research it? Do you YouTube it? Like, what do you do?
So some of the stuff, I come across it from people saying it, because obviously I follow people who are like social media people, like Gary Vaynerchuk and stuff. What I really don't like is when people complain about the algorithm. Like, stop it. It's not like 1930 where we had to use newspaper. This is so much better. Like, don't be ungrateful. Yeah, totally. So instead of like complaining and being like, oh my god, the YouTube algorithm changed, or like something like that, just work with it. That's why real entrepreneurs succeed, because they make it work. It's not like, oh my god, the situation's changing. So I think I've heard about it. I also sometimes give it a Google, like you just said. Like, if you don't know something, Google it. Oh my god, don't ask somebody something you can Google. That's just I cannot deal with that. When people are like
the emoji right now. I'm the emoji right now. Just like, preach, sister, preach.
I love it so much, because people, especially people like you girls would understand sometimes, like I get it, like you're inspired and stuff, but don't waste other people's time who, like, time is money. Like, don't ask them like, oh my gosh, how do I create this on my Instagram? Like, you can always work it out. So yeah, that is just, what was the question?
I don't know, but I like where we're going.
I always love to ask, what is something that you're personally working on right now that you're being challenged by? So what's your biggest challenge at the moment for you?
In terms of business?
Business or even personal development.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually haven't really reflected too much on it, but something I guess that I am working on in personal development, not necessarily struggling, but challenging myself with, is like to expand my worth and just own it. So you know how like people often self-sabotage, and I actually I'm thinking of actually creating a course about this, because I'm so passionate about it. But you know how people will have success and then they're like, I did it again, girls. They self-sabotage and they're like, oh my gosh, but I don't deserve it. Yeah. And then they go downhill, or they're like that one song that goes boom and then there's nothing else good. So rather than just like something good happening and being like, oh, but I don't deserve it. I'm really working on just, knowing my worth and like knowing that I can ask for even more. So like, it's like expanding the manifestations, like how big they are, and like just asking for more unapologetically. So not even being like, oh my God, I don't like, can't deal with it. Like just, and I use like a rose quartz crystal because it's so good for developing, your self-love, and I'm sure you guys are all about that. But I think that is what I'm working on, like, because a lot of good stuff has happened, like in the last month, like with iTunes and like interviewing like Lauren Everett's Bostic, like manifesting her as my mentor for 2019. Like so much stuff is like happening that I want to not just be like self-sabotage, but just be like, yes, like hug it all and be like, more please. Yeah. Like yeah.
That's really cool, because I think one of the things in business that happens regularly is like that glass ceiling, where I don't know if you've read the book The Big Leap, but I loved that book because it really shows you like, okay, so my worth is here, like what I think what I'm worth, and then that's our glass ceiling. We all have one. Like we shouldn't be afraid to say we've got one, but it's just about busting through it and being like, I'm actually worthy of more, and I do deserve more abundance.
Yeah, I don't know if it was in that book, but there's another book that I read and it talks about, even if you're somebody listening and you might be able to relate, but sometimes where you currently are in your reality, you can envisage maybe doubling your income, but anything more than that sounds crazy. So once you double it, so let's say you're making maybe $4,000 a month, and then you're like, all right, I want to make 8. Yeah. And so you can think about that, but once you get to 8, like that was crazy. So then it takes you to kind of consolidate again and think bigger and work on your self-limiting belief to think, what, if I can do 8, I can do 16,000 a month. Yeah. But it's like having that upper limit and actually thinking about who you need to become to attain that as well, because I think each level obviously also reflects a certain thing of growth or a new mindset or just belief in yourself that, like you said, that you're worthy of that.
Yes, definitely. I agree with everything that you just said, and that's like a technique that I used with like filling up spots for my my group coaching just then. Like I had a certain number, and then I was like, no, I'm going to double it, and I've already like hit that first initial number that I wanted. So yeah, it's really, really cool like that.
I love that. That's so cool. We have spent so much of your time.
Thank you so much for jumping on, hun. I love your energy. I love your positive jujus.
I told you you'd fall in love with her. I was like, Loz,
thank you so much.
I have my new girl crush, and her name is Kimberley, and like I just love her. Seriously,
I love you girls so much. Oh my God! And I love that we use the same voices. Like this is a very Aussie thing. Like
actually, when Kimberley and I met online, I was like, "Are you like my long lost twin? Like we are so similar." It was cool.
Oh my God! Yeah. No, I was going to say anything else, but it's like
we just keep telling each other how much we love each other. That's so good. Let's tell everyone where they can find you. Please tell us.
Yeah, sure. So I have my own little potty as well. Podgy, not potty. That's so weird. Delete that. Delete.
No, I'm keeping that in there.
But my podcast is called the Kimberley Wenya Podcast. And yes, we were celebrating number 19 in the top 200 business podcasts just a few days ago, which is so awesome. So you can find me there. I talk about manifestation, and I love Mean Girls, Clueless, She's the Man. So you actually find like quotes from those movies like weaved into some of my episodes, which is like all the funness. That's
I love how you do that.
And you can find me on Instagram at Kimberley Wenya, and the Kimberley has an EY. A lot of people spell it just a Y, and they're like, I can't find you. So it's like that's why.
We'll make sure we put it in the podcast notes as well.
Yeah. And then I just have a Facebook group, which is called The Daily Manifestation, and my blog is just kimberleywenya.com. That's all where I am.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. I've loved talking to you. I loved all the gold. It's just nice to see in the life of someone who's doing amazing things online in the space that you're in. It's just really cool to talk to you behind the scenes.
And alongside uni too. So those people who are tuning in and being like, I can't do this and life's full, like you just got to make it happen. It's all about priorities and time management.
Love it.
Yes to everything you girls said. Thank you girls so much for inviting inviting me on. It's been so much fun.
My pleasure. And congrats again on Top 20 Business Podcast. All right, Kimberley, chat to you soon.
Bye, hon.
Yeah, bye.
We hope you loved that episode of the Babes Talking Business vlogcast. Guys, we're just loving bringing you these episodes. Our mission is to share and add value to your week, whether you're a budding entrepreneur or you're a veteran in the owning your own business game. Don't forget, if you're loving our podcast, we would love for you to rate us and drop us some love on the iTunes app, because we want to know your feedback. We want to know what you're thinking. Once a week, one lucky reviewer will be shouted out on our Instagram. So when you leave us some feedback on the iTunes app, don't forget to include your Instagram handle and or your website so that we can shout you out. Guys, you can follow us on Instagram by going to @BabesTalkingBusiness. You can check out our website at www.babestalkingbusiness.com. And this podcast is actually a vlogcast as well, meaning you can watch each and every single interview by heading over to our YouTube channel. All the links for all of these are below in the podcast notes and on our website as well. Thanks for tuning in.